We need a leader that people can follow.
Canada is accepting too many international students.
You have to take responsibility as your citizens.
All I've seen, international.
I've been lately seeing a lot of online hate for my people.
After some time, he's like, you might be getting married to a white girl, right? That's all you guys plan to do in our country.
Welcome to Open Discussion, where we bring together diverse Canadian voices to tackle tough topics. Our guests will step forward if they agree with the statement, diving into their reasons. If they disagree, they will stay back until the full group discussion. If you'd like to be a part of the next Waveroom video, fill out the form in the description below.
I'm Paris, I'm from India, and I study commerce. Hi, my name is Vaishvik. I'm from a city called Vadodara in India. I studied business, but I'm a personal trainer by profession.
I'm Destiny. I'm from Barbados, St. Vincent, and Trinidad, and I study health sciences.
My name is Abby, and I'm from Delhi, India, and I studied digital solution management from a public college in Canada.
Canada is my first choice destination for a better life and future.
First choice, right?
I would say that I would consider Canada as somewhere I would be very happy. Okay, it's not the first choice, but I'd be very happy over here. The reason why, okay? It depends totally on the question. The question is that, do you see it as where you'd like to live your life in a happy way, okay? So what does happiness mean for you? Does it mean financial stability? Does it mean, getting accepted in a culture and getting accepted in a society? Or what does it depend on? So I can only talk about India and about here because I've lived over there. So for me, I'm more of a fitness and health enthusiast, right? So what's really important for me is nature, my surroundings, the people I interact with, the air I breathe in, the water I drink in. And compared to other countries and my own country, I find all of that very soothing over here. Yes, financially, prices are whack over here, taxes are crazy over here. Okay, I've never seen prices like these before. Insurance is a scam, bro. I've never paid so much car insurance ever in my life. So yeah, financially it's down there, but there's also people, okay, I've met people who are millionaires, but millionaires are high up there, but you don't even know about them. And they're finding so many loopholes. They have genius accountants at their fingertips who are finding loopholes in the taxation system and just doubling and tripling their money. It's happening out there, guys, and you just don't know about it. But yeah, that's in that. Talking about nature, I would say that Canada is where I see myself in the future, hopefully.
Canada is my first choice of destination. If Trudeau goes, then it's my first choice. First of all, inflation rates crazy. International students are coming here buying cars with 20-30% interest. So they have no choice but to do Uber, and Uber isn't even paying people enough. Grocery prices, crazy. People can't even afford groceries anymore. How is Trudeau still there? It's ridiculous. He needs to go. If Pierre steps up, he needs to do something, or else we need a leader that can actually lead Canada towards something good. Right now, the economy is totally screwed and no one's getting a job, and we need to figure out a way to fix this. And if Trudeau's there, he's got to go.
I would say Canada is not my first choice. My first choice would be might be USA, because the country is powerful, the economy is powerful, no matter how down it goes, no matter whatever happened in 9/11 or anything bad happened, still the economy brings up the whole all together, and it's so powerful. But Canada would be my first choice in after the retirement, definitely.
Honestly, I think that Canada, it's you have opportunities, but I think you have a lot better chances finding opportunity and making a name for yourself in any way, shape, or form in America, because everything's there, respectfully. Truly everything is there. And if like you said, retirement, but I wouldn't even come anywhere near Toronto or anything like that. I'd go Vancouver, somewhere far, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere far, exactly, because the mess that's Toronto and all that, nah. And the opportunity, it's a congested and everybody knows everybody. You can't live
Even I've heard that people are becoming so rude, like they're just blasting on everyone. Like,
Yeah, we used to be the nicest country like ever. Like ever.
I'll be honest. Like
Stress.
there's about a lot of countries out there, right? And all countries, just like Canada, have their ups and downs. There's something good and there's something down. It's a yin and yang, right? Now, seeing what Canada's bad is, okay, seeing what Canada's yang is, I think it still can be improved. Okay, I think that all we need is a good leader. We need somebody who thinks about the numbers. We need somebody who thinks about the economy and who thinks about people's livelihoods and people's quality of life over here. I think that this country is still like it's still in a birthing position where it can still go in a place where it can get back up at the top over there, right? And of course, like US and there's so many European countries where you get amazing quality of life, etc. But I just try to find contentment where I am. It's just not my vision to see somewhere else while being in someplace else.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The leader thing. Trudeau needs to go. If he stays, if he wins again, I'm going to America. There's no way I'm staying in this country if Trudeau wins the next election, because that guy needs to go. He's the biggest clown that Canada has ever seen, and he needs to go. And if Pierre comes, he needs to do something that can benefit Canadians. As you said, we need a good leader that can stable the economy, lower the mortgage rates, let people actually buy houses, afford cars, because right now it's like almost impossible to even buy a house for the people coming here. So we need a good leader.
I partially agree with this, but I feel like people also needs to change.
People need to change
also
too.
needs to evolve. Like the new prime minister can't be going into everyone's house and making them change, right? We need to take responsibility of our actions also, right? People living in like different parts of the Canada, right? The people who are rude, the people who are exploiting different people, they also need to change. They also need to be like taught the better way to live a life in Canada and let other people live a good life, right?
I think that is perspective. It's all about perspective. If you look at your perspective versus his perspective, he came from India. He's comparing what he knew versus what he's seeing now. So to him, this is better. To us who've been here for a while, this is not the best that we see.
Exactly.
And with your strong political opinions, that I think that adds to your point where it's like, this has to change or else I'm gone, da, 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 da. But to the next guy, it's like, yes, this has to change, but I've seen worse. I've never been to India. I don't know the culture very well. I don't know the country very well, but based on, again, I don't know if the best reputation, TV shows and things like that I can see the differences. So hearing your points, I can see your perspective and understand why you say what you say or why you say what you say versus what you say versus what I say.
And to be honest, it's not even about comparison, It's not even, it's like I'm only, like my whole purpose is to, it's not just the comparison. It's also about, like, if there's an issue going on here, of course, it's going to be a slow change. Okay, everybody's going to be mentally prepared for that. Everybody needs to take initiative. Okay, all the leaders need to take initiative. But it's not going to happen if we just give up saying, oh, this country's fucked or this happened, taxes, blah blah blah. I'm the kind of person, if something's bothering me, I'm like, okay, I gotta face it and we gotta work on it, right? So if the country's doing something,
You know what you said. So as you said, we need a leader that people can follow, that people can come together with, a leader that's strong, that people understand.
Yeah, but the people pick their leader respectfully. People, you make your bed and you lay in it. You didn't look, America, they made their bed and they laid in it. And then after, they're like, oh, well, I didn't want this, da da da. Respectfully, we made our bed, we lay in it. And then when it comes time for us to remake it, hopefully people make better decisions. But that doesn't always happen. So you can't even say, you can blame him. You can blame Trudeau all you want. But he got put in the position by the people. It's a democracy.
I 100% agree with
You
that.
know what I'm saying?
You have to take responsibility as your citizens, okay? If you don't like this leader, choose that one. If you don't like that leader, if you don't like any leader, stand up as a leader yourself, go into elections. Who's stopping you, right? Change your own country yourself. Let's say your country.
Yeah, I get what you guys are saying, but I feel like it's been like 10 years, right? And I feel like he should change by now, or he brought a Nazi into the parliament. Like, that is not what a leader does. If you have a sense of brain, then that just doesn't make sense. How can you bring a Nazi into the Canadian Parliament?
it maybe doesn't make sense, but at the same time, if it's been so long and it's still continuously happening, why is that? What value do the people see in that person? I'm not getting political as to my standpoints on with or without, but I'm just saying, if something's still going on, why is that still happening? Think about that.
I've also heard rumors that he also has a strong vote banks with all these like illegal people who came into this country like before or like whenever, right? And all those rude people you guys are talking about, they have this government has a strong vote bank to them, right? That's why they are winning.
I've encountered instances of cultural stereotypes while studying in Canada.
Yeah, I think we all can agree with the cultural stereotypes in studying in Canada because, like, I'm Indian, so of course people are like, oh man, what are you eating? Is this Indian food? Or like, if I'm eating something, they'd be like, oh, this and that. Or they would think, if you're Asian, you're super smart. Or if you're this, you're that. So, of course, there's stereotypes everywhere, while you're studying here.
Speaking from my experiences, I've not faced any sort of blatant racism or stereotypes, okay? The people I've connected with have been lovely so far. But I've been lately seeing a lot of online hate for my people, okay? And without any reason, okay? Now, of course, I condone any sort of videos out there where people are creating some sort of nuisance, dancing around, disturbing other people's life. 100% I condone them. But for example, like there was a really famous Rath Yatra which happened yesterday in downtown. Okay, they've been doing that since the last 30 to 40 years. They're doing it lawfully. And everybody's participating in it. You look at the videos, you're gonna see people from all different skin colors in there, right? But at the same time, if you open the comment section on any of those videos, you're gonna find unnecessary racism. Oh, these guys are doing this. These guys are doing that. They've been doing that since 40 years. They're doing that lawfully abiding. They're just celebrating something for once. Okay, so yes, you should condone what people are doing, but just don't connect it to race. That's what I'd say.
Before you go on, as a Hindu, I totally respect that. And the Rath Yatra that they did in Toronto, I don't know why people leave such comments like that, because there's a lot of other cultures that do their own things and people like don't really say stuff about that. But when they say certain racial stuff like that, it just doesn't look good as a country.
Yeah, I've also felt like some of the instances, like very basic ones, but yeah, I always take them in a funny way. I don't react too much onto them because I know that I'm not one of them. Maybe I'm talking about the Indian community. I'm talking about the ones they are targeting, the one type of people they are targeting, like the rude ones, who don't behave well, who can't even barely speak one word of English, and like living in this country with so much of ego, instead of adapting to this culture, adapting to this country, and appreciating everybody in the country, all the races in the country. I feel that they target those people. So I don't personally count myself one of them. And if somebody give any bad comments on me, I always take it in a funny way. Recently, I got when I recently got graduated. So I was sitting in my convocation, I was waiting, and there was a parent sitting beside me from like another European race, and the father was telling me that he tried to joke, but I didn't take it as a joke. He said, "Oh, you must be from Brampton," or he's like, "Oh," and then first of all I just said, "No, I'm from Cambridge, Ontario, and I live here. I never been to Brampton," which is true, right? So, and then second thing is, after some time he's like, "Oh, now you are graduated. You might be getting married to a white girl, right? That's all you guys plan to do in our country." I was like, "No. First of all, I'm engaged and I bring my own girlfriend from my own country. So I'm not gonna marry like any of your like girls or anything. But even if people are doing that, it's their own choices, right? If their cultural beliefs are matching, it's the individual's choice who they are getting married or whatever thing. But I always take in a joking way because I know that they're not particularly targeting myself.
100%. Stereotypes, they don't fall short. I as a Black woman, it's up. You know, you get the regular comments. Oh, if you get too loud, she's an angry Black woman. You don't escape it. Respectfully, you never will. As a person of color, even as a white person, you will not escape the stereotypes, especially in school settings. Especially, it goes beyond, like, people will look at you a certain way if you're dressed a certain way, if you talk a certain way, and you don't look like you should. You know what I'm saying? So I think that no matter what, where, who you are, student, not student, age can vary between 70 years old to 5 years old. People are going to stereotype you and put you in boxes, and it happens with everybody.
And it also depends on how you're reacting to it, right? Like if somebody's being stereotypical or racist towards you, there's not much you can do to change their behavior. Yelling at them, blah, blah, blah. That's only gonna, God knows what that's gonna do. What you can always do is you can always keep yourself calm in those situations, you know? You can always look at it as it's just a crazy person. There's crazy people everywhere around, right? But at the same time, right? If you feel that you're getting too much racism, or if you feel like you're getting too much stereotypes towards you, it's always to put it out there in a more polite way as well, right? That's what I believe as well. Like if you're getting some sort of a negative energy or vibe towards yourself, always try to turn it around and keep yourself calm in that situation. That's what I've found.
Yeah, as they said, like stereotypes are everywhere, no matter like what your race is. And since I'm brown, like people would be like, oh, like I'm from Brampton, but they would be like, oh, yeah, of course you're from Brampton, right? Because you're brown. And then, oh, you're driving, probably like, yeah, no, like shut up. Like just like it's just. But at the same time, I take it in a way where it's like, you know what? There are good people in Brampton too. You know, there are people that follow the rules. It's not all of them. So,
And there are good people everywhere, I
Yeah.
guess. It's like sometimes we match with wrong people. I mean, sometimes people have bad experiences. Now they are so much frustrated that they throw their frustration on you, or like
The bad will always outweigh the good, no matter where you go. And that's because that's what brings attention. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what people will pay attention to. If you see somebody being kind, and you're like, oh, they're being kind, that's regular. You see two people fighting, oh my, you know what I'm saying? That's breaking news.
The drama,
Exactly.
breaking news.
Literally. Exactly. That's why you see the news is mainly covered with bad events that happen, because, and maybe one coverage will be something positive or
I
something
second
good.
that motion, because at least talking about the Indian community, I feel that there's a lot of misrepresentation of how the Indian community is, especially out in the social media. All I see is videos of slums and blah, 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 you know, people doing something weird, but there's so much they don't even show, okay? There's so much they don't even show. And I think a lot of people, especially the Western countries, have forgotten the contribution of India towards the history of literally the entire world. The British, if you look this up, the British stole nearly $45 trillion from India, at least in the last 300 years. They occupied it from 1600s to like 1800s, 1900s. They stole 45 trillion. In addition to that, there were also like legal profits which they had to show on the books, right? Where do you think all their money went? That went to Canada, that went to the UK, that went to their colonies, that went to Australia, New Zealand, right?
they did it with all the countries, not just India, not just one. They did it with all the countries.
I can only talk about my community, right? I can only talk about, I have knowledge about my community, I can talk about my community. People have been like mostly Western countries, and because of social media, they've been forgetting the contribution of other societies, and that other societies do exist. It's not only in this one culture, you know, and they need to understand what their contribution was. That's how I feel that one way is where we can start seeing people, and stop these stereotypes, you know, seeing what they contribute.
Canada's education system is one of the best schooling systems in the world.
Yeah, I feel like Canada is has the best schooling system because we have the top university like UFT and Waterloo. Also, like after you get your bachelor's or job, it's not really guarantees, but after you get your like master's or PhD, that is all should be guaranteed, and you can start out with like a business or something else. So I feel like we do have the top universities, and therefore that makes Canada like the best for education in Alston.
So I agree to that statement, because I can only speak from my experience, because I've lived in only two countries, right? I've lived in India and in Canada. And talking about Canada, just like my friend right here said it, the UFT, McGill, which are high in like US rankings, right? And then secondly, comparing it to back home, from what I've been hearing from friends and what I've seen myself as well, it's really tough out there outside Canada. especially in India, to get into high-end universities. Okay, and even after graduation, you have a lot of competition going on, which I don't feel is the same over here. It's certain tiny bit more necessary.
So I don't think the Canada has the best schooling system. First of all, the university like expenses are so high that you can't imagine. Like, I think the only upper middle class can come here and afford that fees. Otherwise, like 90% of the students are coming on the big heavy loans, which they are not able to pay off because they're only gonna get the paying jobs after their bachelor's degree. Unless and until you do a master's or PhD in this country, you won't get a good paying job where you can afford to raise a family and everything, right? So in this point of view, I don't think it's the best schooling system in Canada.
The Canadian schooling system as an entirety, it doesn't go as deep and you don't learn as much as you would in other countries, if you're being honest. I think that while finding jobs and stuff may be harder in other countries, the experience and the knowledge that you get and then coming to Canada and using that experience and knowledge is a better route to go, because our schooling system and because the way that the entire system is ran isn't advanced. Like, you could put two people, a person from Canada and then a person from a different country, beside each other, and a 16-year-old versus a 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old will probably know more or just as much as the 16-year-old.
What you mentioned about the money, I feel like, yeah, the fees are high for international students studying in Canada, but compared to America, like America's fees, like if you say like Harvard or some university, they're like way higher than Canada. And with the other thing, yeah, there's ups and downs with the Canadian schooling system, of course, compared to America and other foreign nations. But I feel like it's still one of the best and it's still up there. But there are like ups and downs, as he mentioned.
But bro, I would say, like, if you talk about America, right? When students complete their bachelors in America, they get really good jobs. Some of them end up in Google and Facebook and like many companies, right? And I've seen in Canada, it's been 2 years in Canada, many of the students, like with me, they completed their bachelors, they're ending up in like Tim Hortons and like doing basic jobs. They have to do more courses over like Coursera and Google certificates. They have to gain more like the PMP certificates and all those business management certificates from the online. Then they are able to just get a basic job in those fields also, like even like business management is like the basic job, right?
I've noticed that the more labor intensive you go, the more labor jobs you try to find, you're going to find a high level of competition. But if you were to go into something specialized like architecture, being a doctor, being a pharmacist, any sort of STEM stream, there's vacancies there. Okay. I have a sister who's a pharmacist. She tells me all about how there's so much vacancies in pharmacies everywhere. They're lacking pharmacists active, right? So what you said is true, but at the same time, if you were to put in a lot of money, which is another downside, and get a specialization, I think you could still make it work.
Yeah, but then it's about, as you guys said, the fees are high, and especially being an international student, because there's that difference between international and domestic with the fees. Paying that back, even if you're not highly specialized, which is vacant and whatnot and so forth, how long is it going to take you to get there? How much money are you putting in? And are you even able to pay off your student loans by the time you're done?
That's also a very interesting conversation, because then that questions the whole education system. Is a degree worth it? Is a specialization worth it? Can you make it in life without...
And that's why people go into trades, though. But that's why people go into trades. It's maybe highly competitive, but there's always a highway, there's always a pothole in a road, there's always something that needs to get done, condos being built. And
I agree.
if you look at the timelines, they're not getting done fast enough.
Exactly. It all depends on your end goal, right? Like, where do you see yourself in the end? Where do you see yourself with a lot of money, being financially stable? Do you see yourself in a profession? Or do you see yourself just living your life, having a business, taking care of your family? It's all your end goal.
Canada lets in too many international students compared to other countries.
Honestly, I think that the rates of international students versus domestic, there's a big number difference. And I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I also do think that while making so many opportunities for international students, it can almost take away from the domestic.
Yes, Canada is accepting too many international students, definitely, in a short period of time. And one of the major reason, which nobody mentioned, I have experienced in like 2 years, was COVID also. So the Canada is like all the countries and everything was shut down for like almost 2 years, 1.5 and 2 years. So what about all the applicants who already applied to different universities in the world, like especially Canada, because the Canadian system is little bit easy from all other countries in comparison to the permanent residency pathway. So yeah, I feel that the COVID also created a big havoc, the big massive problem, and the rates are like going in like high in like numbers, international students, just because of COVID also, right? So that's my point.
I agree to this point. It's not, I would say it's not only it's not only international students, but I think it's all immigrants in general, which Canada is letting in too much. It's not about like if you compare the numbers, right? In the Western countries, Canada is somewhere around top 2, top 3, something like that. But other countries, they have a huge population, they have a huge economy, okay? And they're bringing in people which they know their economy, their housing, their pricing can support, right? But Canada is one of the lowest populations out there, and we're still in the top. We're right there after US when it comes to taking in.
I'd just like to say, Trudeau is the worst prime minister in the history of Canada. Economically, inflation rates are going up crazy. No one can afford anything. Housing market is really messed up. It's going up like crazy. Mortgage rates have doubled, and he's nonstop bringing in international students to this country, knowing full well, what about the actual Canadians? What about us? And he's giving money to Ukraine, with all due respect to the people of Ukraine. He's giving Ukraine, foreign nation, billions of dollars. What about Canadians?
I agree with that, yeah.
The question comes that Canadian citizens not having jobs, businesses not doing good. Is it all the international students?
It's not all international students, but it's a percentage of it. It's to say, okay, everyone puts in job applications. You know what I'm saying? You guys get the job. Say you get a job, I don't. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to you, but that's another job gone to an international student versus a domestic student. Now I'm here, and obviously we both need jobs, but you are a part of the percentage taking away from the domestic students and people, even on campus jobs that fit in with school schedules. Will that work out? You know what I'm saying?
Domestic. What about the actual Canadians, like us? Like, what about the people that have been living here for like a long time? Like, we need jobs too. But when international students come here, we're not getting the jobs, and they're getting the jobs, which is not good for us because we've been living here for longer and we know Canada better. So that's not fair for us because he's bringing in way too many, like beyond comprehension. Trudeau is bringing in way too many international students. He needs to go.
I would say they need to measure how much the economy can support. They need to measure like where do they need the most amount of people, where do they need where do they need the foreign talent. But at the same time, would you guys agree that whoever is more qualified should get a job, or should it be more about equity?
100%. But when it comes to qualifications for entry level, I'm not talking like, STEM type of job. I'm talking when you're in school, you have a little part-time job at a convenience store or a fast food restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Respectfully, when you walk into a gas station or a fast food place, I used to work at Wendy's personally. And since I've been there and since I left, all I've seen is, no disrespect, but international. I have my friend calling me, hey, I'm looking for a job. Where do you think's that? Nowhere. And it's a sad truth, but even entry level places, like you don't have to, it's not even higher up, but you can't find a job.
So do you know why employers only hire international students, mostly hire international students?
Can I say my personal opinion?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
My personal opinion is you look like me, so you can do it. And that's in every, respectfully, walk into a media supply store, you're going to see majority Black people or Asian, Chinese of that realm. Walk into a Popeyes, the manager, you know what I'm saying? You look like me.
Get the job. You're Indian?
Hold on. I want to add two things to this.
sorry, I want to add two things to this, very important, okay? Some people might have know it, some people might have no idea about this. So first thing is Indian people, you said, right? Like the majority of people are Indian people, and employers I'm talking about on the gas station and on the convenience stores also, right? So some of them, I'm saying, they love to exploit people. And when they find that the other races, even if it's Africans, even if it's Europeans, even if it's like Americans or anywhere, right? They are very hard to exploit. Those people know their rights. Those people won't go below the lines, and that's not happened with some international students who belong from India. So that's why Indian employers, they exploit those students, they target those students, and they capture only those students for their job. Just let me finish. Second thing, the Canadian immigration government is very, very slow on this. They don't know how much scams are going on in the Department of Immigration. They actually have no idea what's going on. There are scams going on like spouse visas, contract marriages. There are scams going on like LMIA scams, right? The employers are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from the travel agents back in the home countries like India and Pakistan and all those countries. They are getting thousands of dollars from these students and bring them here on the LMIA visas, and they're exploiting the immigration system. So that's the very two major points. I know most people don't know, and I've experienced this because when you go to gas station, you apply for the job, they literally throw your resume on the trash.
Why employers hire so many Indian or international students is because, like you said, they don't know their rights. Okay, so they know that if we hire them, number one, if we give a late payment, if we wrongfully fire them, they're not going to reward because they know that they're in a foreign country. Secondly, they want to pay much lesser than minimum wage. So they know that they're going to these guys are desperate for a job, so they're going to give you below minimum wage in like a cash job, and they're going to accept it. Students are going to accept it. Okay, that's why they hire them, right? Because they know they can be so very easily exploited. Thirdly, what he talked about the immigration system as well. The reason why we have so much immigration and there's so much stuff happening where there's illegal stuff happening in Brampton and there's things happening is because Canada is not properly processing the background enough to any sort of.
That's why I said the government is very slow.
Bringing in people, get on the plane and come to Canada.
They need to have thorough background checks. They need to complete their processes. I remember when I applied for a visa, the Canadian embassy was so overwhelmed that they had to send my passport to Dubai to get it stamped from India. The Canadian embassy sent it over there. Like that was happening at least like with everyone. I don't recall if it happened with me or not, but I remember a few of my friends who that happened with. And it's like the whole system is overloaded and they need to just streamline it much more.
All of you have
crack down on employers or anybody exploiting students.
At the same time, yes, okay, easy to exploit, but the onus is on you. It doesn't take a genius to go online and say, what is minimum wage? The word is minimum wage.
Yes.
I know not everybody has the idea, you're in a foreign country, you're scared, but there are safety measures in place for that. And I think the onus is on the individual to make sure that their rights and what they should be getting is upheld, because that can happen to anybody. You can have a 15-year-old kid going into their first job not knowing any better and say, oh, hey, I'm going to pay you 14. Minimum wage is like 16 something. I'm paying you $14 an hour. They wouldn't know any better, but the onus is on them. Even if they were born here, even if they came from a different country, the onus is on the individual to make sure they're getting what they should be getting. And then on top of that, I think that respectfully, at the point of in a foreign country and is scared, is slight BS, because I have encountered many international individuals who are blatantly rude and disrespectful, and they're very aware of it, and they don't care that they're in a foreign country. They don't care that, you know what I'm saying? I've been told a lot of...
They think it's India. Like, that's not right.
They don't think it's India. They think that because they're coming here, they think that they're...
Exactly. So for me, it's not Indian, it's the international students that come here that think they're above the law. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as you mentioned, yeah, I agree. I respect the people that are coming here, like you would, like both of you, that come here, genuinely work hard, work towards a certain goal and achieve it. Those are the people I respect. But the people that come here and don't like follow the laws and rules, and they think it's, oh, we're international, we can do whatever we want. Those are the people I don't respect.
That's bringing me to my older point that they're not doing enough background checks. I cannot go into political opinion or political. I cannot go to political opinions of my back home country, but there's so many people who are being declared terrorists or who are being declared criminals who are in asylum and caste.
So all in all, we all can agree that it is the immigration system first, which is very needs to be aligned. Yeah, needs to be aligned properly. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for having us in the shoot, and
Good conversation.
Yeah, it was very, it's very fun.
So many points came out which people might not know, and we don't know.
And I'm very happy that I'm able to speak in behalf of international students, that we are also here to work and we're here to contribute towards the society, and not let the stereotypes set out there. That's my main message.
I also learned a lot, some more stuff about international because you guys came and you guys represented, so that's good. And we had a good debate, yeah.
Yes.
Fun.
Make sure you smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe.